Welcome, everyone. This is Nichel Anderson. I'm your host for my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. Everybody, I got a very, very special guest today. I have Cameron. He is the CEO of The Confidence Coach. He's going to be joining us today. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, how you can succeed, how you can cope in the workplace, how you can move forward. He's going to go more in the focus of his business and who he helps. So we're going to do that. And right before I start, I always like to say a prayer. So let's get into that. Welcome, my survivors of the journey, to my podcast that aims to inspire and motivate that you will continue to have joyfulness, peace of mind, and for your sustained success. So with that, let's get into this. How you doing, Cameron?
I'm great. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling wonderful. And let's go ahead and you can introduce yourself and what your company is about before we go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I'm the founder of The Confidence Coach. I am a relationship and dating coach. I help build people's confidence so they can be their most optimized self, so they can be someone's best option. In short, that's my quick little elevator pitch.
I got to write this down. Optimize themselves to be the best option for someone. Ooh, because my other podcast deals with stories, and it's about true love. It's about positive love, which is in balance. You want to be able to have that giving and receiving, not the taking. Oh, I love that. Optimize them. You know what? I ain't never heard that before. That's why I love.
Gotta be able to. We gotta be our best selves. If we're not our best selves, then how are we gonna be the best option for someone else?
Preach it. Yes.
Yep. That's it.
Love
it. And because nobody wants a project, right? Nobody wants a fixer upper.
You preach to the choir down here, and I'm a southern. Yes.
Everyone can relate to that. And so if we make ourselves our project and we become the best version of ourselves, we optimize ourselves, no one's gonna look at us as a project. And therefore, we have better chances of being someone's best option. So we got to build our own confidence. We got to build our own love for ourselves. We got to build ourselves inside so that we can be someone's best option.
Ooh, that's some good. You dropped some gems right there. I might have to broadcast this on my other show too, because other podcast is all about love. It's about what you just said. So I love that. Okay, let's get into this. This is gonna be an interesting show, everybody. Okay, let's share with us your company's purpose in building, sustaining of confidence, of empowering men on their journey. Could you go into that? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with both men and women. And when we are the most confident versions of ourselves through hardship, through failures, through trial and error, through doing different things, experiencing different things in life, we become more and more confident. And through that confidence, we build a better quality life. But it's really, really difficult. That's why most people don't do it. That's why most people travel through life with insecurities and issues and baggage that they're carrying that they don't work on through their life, because it's hard work. It's hard. It's hard to go to the gym. It's hard to cook every day. It's hard to work on that baggage. It's hard to work on ourselves internally. It's hard to do all these things, work on ourselves financially, professionally, etc., save money, all these hard things that we know we should do, all these things that we know we should do to be better, to elevate, to have a more quality life. They're hard to do, but when we can master them, when we get better at them, on the other side of that discomfort is something so beautiful, so enriching, and our quality of life becomes so much better. We shine brighter as a person. And so I teach how to do that. I teach how to shine brighter, because when you shine brighter, you can meet that person more openly. You can meet that woman or that man, and they will see how bright you shine. And you will be so much more attractive to them. Again, because no one wants a project. So if we build our confidence, if we build ourselves through those hardships, we're going to be so much better on the other side of that. And people are going to see that.
Ooh-wee. I have to say that as a Southern woman here. That's some good stuff. That's some gravy. We were talking about before we started, everybody. We was talking about the food. He asked me what type of food I like, and and I love gravy. I forgot to mention, I love gravy and potatoes, and that's some real gravy you just dropped there. Before I move on, I got to touch on that. You gave me a lot, because I was writing my notes as fast as you was dropping those gems. It's hard to do. So in my podcast, I do talk about that. Even though that you're going through it, you still go through it to get the mental peace. I'm very particular about mental peace, joyfulness, having an understanding. You explain it in your way, very good in your perspective, and you get to master it. Once you master it, you can shine, and that's the quality of life. I think that's wonderful to take away, everybody, if you're listening to that. And I want to go back what you said earlier about, you are the project. So I tap into what I teach here is like, that's your journey. You're blessed in the sense to have the choices to define that journey. And you can define it and move forward and have a quality of life, as you had said, Cameron. Then you also said something else that I liked, that you basically said nobody else want a project. So, to be able to work on someone else when that person needs to do that. You dropped a lot. So I want to also touch on the leadership. Let's go to that right quick. The leadership, I know I have here like for men, but you can also for women as well. Why does men or women in leadership should structure their awareness, training, self-empowerment, focus on confidence for effective decision making? Why is that important in leadership, you think?
We think a lot more clearly when we're confident individuals.
Mm.
There's also this feeling, and we've all been there, where when we feel insecure, when we don't feel as confident as we can, our ego takes over. And nobody wants to lead with ego. Nobody should want to, I should say. And nobody wants to be led by ego. That is a toxic workplace environment when you're led by ego, but that ego comes from a lack of confidence within yourself because you're compensating, you're overcompensating. When you don't have full confidence in yourself, in who you've chosen to be on your team, because you haven't worked on yourself appropriately, you got things going on at home, you got things in the back of your mind, you don't feel confident in the reason why you're in your position, maybe. There could be there's a numerous amount of reasons, variety of reasons why someone may not feel confident. We're so complex. So there could be a lot of different reasons. But the fact of the matter is we will lead with ego in the workplace if we're not confident, if we haven't done the work on ourselves. So I think that's why it's incredibly important to be confident in interpersonal confidence. It starts with us. It honestly starts. That's why we hear of so many successful CEOs. They get their exercise done in the morning. They get their ice bath done. They get their meditation, their journaling, their affirmations, because those things help bolster us. All those things are done at the beginning of the day. They're a ritual for so many people because they set their day up for success. It helps build confidence, inner peace. I like how you were talking about that earlier. That inner peace is so important. And when you feel confident, you have so much more inner peace and you're going to perform a lot better for your employees and your company.
You know what? I'm not just saying this just to be nice, but you really are a confidence coach. And I'm loving it.
Thank
Because
you.
when you said ego, and I talk about that here on my podcast, ego can really trip you up. And I love how you kind of hone on that by pushing that to the side and focusing on basically what you're saying is focusing on what you need. It's like taking care of a plant. And when you do that, you know what water it needs to make sure it gets its sunlight. And then you kind of name out the things. I do have CEOs that do listen to my podcast shows, particularly people in business. And having that morning regimen to understand that you're tuning in, you're understanding what your body needs, what your mind needs. Therefore, you can push back the energy of ego or what have you and negative thoughts so you can be able to lead. And you said something else that I do talk about toxic workplaces. I do get a lot of employees that listen in to kind of release that stress. And you said nobody wants to be led by ego or the person that is vibrating on that. And I totally agree to reduce and to remove the stress. So you drop a lot of gems on that. Could you also, if we kind of can tap onto this to pivot, let's see, if you can name 2 areas. Let's talk about that. 2 areas men or women often struggle with that restricts their progress to the level of success that they aim for on their journey. What would they be based on your experience with your clients?
I don't think people look inwards enough. I don't think people look in the mirror and be truly honest with themselves and self-reflect, be introspective and humble themselves. I don't think people take the time to do that. I don't think people have the energy or put in the energy to do that sort of thing. And that's where it all starts. We got to figure out where can we improve because that's a lot of work. We've got work, we've got family, we've got relationships, maybe we have a pet, we got the gym, we got all these things going on. We got to cook. We've got busy lives. Then you tack on some inner work on that, looking at yourself in the mirror, humbling yourself and saying, where can I improve? That's a lot of work. And that's not for the faint of heart either, because that's really, really challenging. It's really hard on us. But kind of like I said earlier, it's so much better on the other side when we do. So I think that's some people, a lot of people need to work. But I would imagine a lot of the people who listen to your show are already doing that because you probably attract people who want self-betterment,
Right.
who look for a better life, who are looking to improve. And
Right.
so I would imagine that the people that are listening right now are already doing that. And I would encourage them to continue to do that because life is a process. It's a continuous
Mm,
journey to become our best selves. Like I said earlier, to optimize ourselves. And
mm,
so to stay humble, keep looking for weak points, pat ourselves on the back for our strong points and our accomplishments. We need that.
mm,
But to also, we can't progress in life without recognizing the failures. We don't get
mm.
better by only winning, by
Right.
recognizing only the successes. Football
Mm,
teams get better by recognizing what they did poorly in the last game, improving
mm,
upon those failures, getting better, and doing it differently the next game. They don't
mm.
look at the successes and
Right.
say, "Oh, well, we did that, time to move on." No, you learn from the
Right.
failures. You get better, you become more calloused, and you
Mm,
progress. And so it's the same when we look at ourselves in the mirror. Maybe we messed up in our last relationship. Maybe we had a terrible conversation in the workplace that we didn't handle very eloquently. All these things in life that we could have done better. We need to reflect on those
right.
and learn from them, but that's hard to do because everybody wants to be right.
Right.
It's human nature. We want to say, no, 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 I'm good. I'm the
Mm,
smartest. I'm the best. I did this right. That was on them. But
right.
that's not right. That's not how we progress. That is how we
Mm,
regress.
right.
And so I really
Mm,
want to urge people to look in the mirror and truly say, how can I get better today? What am I afraid of doing today? Am I afraid of having that conversation with my boss? Am I afraid of making that deal? Am I afraid of going up to that girl or that boy and introducing myself? Am I afraid to say sorry? What are you afraid to do? Maybe it's a workout. Maybe it's cook some food. Maybe it's learn a new skill. What are you
right.
afraid to do? And take baby steps to get it done.
Mm,
Because
mm,
the overarching theme there is that's how you build confidence.
right.
Is you gain you do things that build competency. You
Mm,
overcome fears. You
mm,
do the things that are hard to do. So one of the hardest things to do is to reflect, be
mm.
humble, and yeah, humble ourselves. Eat a big old slice of humble pie, and
You know we
and
love some
and
apple
and
pie down here. Yes,
and
we
say
do.
where can we improve? Where can we
Okay, yes. Give me some of that peach cobbler. Okay, or
yeah.
apple pie. I love it. Let me talk about this too. In the workplace, because you just mentioned it about toxic workplaces. How do we deal with, and I talk about a lot on my podcast here because I know people are struggling with that. In the workplace, Cameron, can you share with us some type of strategy or how you can present that to us dealing with toxic people, how to deal with that in
That's
the
a highly
workplace?
relatable topic because I think most people can relate to
Yes,
that. And
they can
and I
understand that
can as
bread. Yes.
yeah, yeah, we've all experienced that.
Yes.
We've just like we've all experienced a toxic relationship or something at
Right.
some point, right? Everyone's been
Yes.
there.
Everyone been there.
So I used
Don't
to
want to
work
go back. Let me put that in there.
right. We learn and we
We
progress. That's
learn and
exactly it
move.
right there.
Yes.
And so I used to work at Nike. I used to work in Nike corporate,
Okay.
and I had my fair share of
Wow.
toxic employees, people who didn't
Mm,
communicate well, people who projected, people who
mm,
deflected, people
mm,
who needed to um, they had ego themselves. They weren't even a
mm,
superior. They weren't a
mm.
leader. They weren't anything. But they weren't a team leader or anything. But they were someone that you needed to work closely
Right.
with.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just some sort of friction going on.
Mm,
And how I would recommend somebody maneuver a situation like that is A, can you resolve it yourself?
mm,
Okay, that's the first step. What are you in control of? All we're in control of is ourselves. So
right.
how can we can't control them. We can't control our boss. We can't control the workplace, but we can control ourselves. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
it starts with us first. That's
Mm-hmm.
my first little checkbox.
Mm-hmm.
Can we control the situation through ourselves? Again, look at ourselves in the mirror. Is this a
Mm-hmm.
toxic situation because of maybe how I act?
Mm,
Because of something I said? Put myself in their shoes. Are they reacting the way they're reacting because of how I am acting? All right. If I'm being honest with myself and I can say, no, I am being sweet, kind, very communicative, I'm being giving of my time, all these things, then the next checkbox is how can I maneuver this situation again? I can only control me. How can I maneuver this situation so that I can distance myself from that toxicity a little bit, or help improve the toxic situation? And how I would do that is communication first. But if you've already tried that, I would assume most people already try that, is the communication aspect, because a lot of people don't know how to communicate, or they're afraid of confrontation,
Right.
or they just don't communicate because they're afraid of the confrontation. Try your best to communicate with that individual. And if it doesn't work, if your sweetheartedness and your kindness and your being giving, if that doesn't work, then you need to back up out of the situation. If you can't back up out of the situation because maybe you need to work closely with them on a project or something, this was what happened with me. I needed to work closely with this person and I couldn't back up. We tried our best to split the projects kind of half and half, but it didn't work. We still had to collaborate, and we had so many miscommunications. It was a brutal experience. I know so many people can relate to this, where you just need to work together. You can't separate. So in that instance, that's when you need to have a little heart to heart with your superior, with your team lead, and just say, hey, I really respect this person. They're great. They're amazing at what they do, but we're having a little bit of friction. You be gentle, be kind, you be a respectful person. You don't want to shake things up. And I know that can be touchy to go to a superior and say these things, because you don't want to shake the boat. You don't want to mess things up too much, but it's how you communicate it. It's always the message that we're sending and how we present ourselves. So if we can say it gently, you start by leading by saying, this person's incredible. I really do appreciate them. They're hard workers. You set the stage in a positive light. And then you can say, it's just not working between us. We've tried this, we've tried that, we've tried that. Can you give any recommendations? Don't ask them to solve your problems. Ask them for ideas and tips on how you can control the situation better, because that's still taking ownership and leadership of the situation. So you're asking, can you think of any tips, any ideas that I have not thought of myself that I can put into the situation to maybe help it? They're going to respect that because you're still taking ownership. All right. You're not rocking the boat. And you're also giving them awareness of the situation. And I think that's really important. And so hopefully they'll give you something that you can take and push into the situation a little bit, implement and ease things out a little bit. If that doesn't work, God bless.
That's kingship of what Plaid you just did. That's platinum. That's the strategy I teach on my podcast show, because it's a very delicate way how you approach it. But what you just said is exactly what I tell people is how you play it. So that's the power play, y'all. That's what you have to do. So do replay that part with the whole podcast, but definitely that if you're struggling, you're trying to figure out, because it's like, and sometimes you could be like you in the ocean with sharks, how you can play it when you're dealing with corporate America or any type of business environment where you're not the top lead and you can be able to move things around and you have to work with people. So that's a huge, big power play that Jim that you just dropped, Cameron. Thank you so much. I agree to all of that. That's how you do it. So if you're going through that, replay this section, that part where he just broke it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Okay. That's the kingship move right there. He did. That's power play. All right.
Is there anything that you would add, Nichel? Is there anything that you
No,
would
you
add?
covered it. I've been writing notes. I had to stop at this. Like, is he doing it? I mean, I have a podcast where I break it up or I go through the whole thing, but I agree to everything. What you don't. The takeaway I want y'all everybody to listen to what he's saying. This particular towards the end, where it doesn't work with the person, right? The person is just what it is. So you have to go to leadership. A lot of people back out of that because it is very touchy. But how he was basically saying is what I've been seeing on the podcast show that I totally agree with. You go with that with a positive. You do not show any type of emotions. You don't go, and all of that. You just go and speak about the positive of what can come out of it if this situation can, have another third party, which is the leadership at this point, to try to get it to where it needs to be. I've been there. I've done it. It works. And when you do that, you're not rocking the boat, just like Cameron says. You don't want to do that. You're absolutely right. What's going on, but it's how you play it, right?
Yep.
And in any
Yep.
type of strategy, and I like to use football as a metaphor too, Cameron. It's like when they're on the field and they're about to play, everybody get in position. But that's like you're focusing, you're thinking of the goal. The goal is to get that ball into the goal, and you might be at a certain part in that field, but before when it's time to go ahead and move, everybody line up and they follow the quarterback. But the point I want you to take is that everybody's in formation of communicating when they hear the play or what's it's going to be. So think of that way as a team player, even though you're having that situation and you go about in a way that you're not rocking the team and rocking the boat, you're just trying to make it
Mhm.
better. Is this issue going on? So bravo on that. So
I
let
love
me,
what you said. Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry. I
no,
just
go
wanted to
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
wanted to give you some love on this because I love what you said
Oh,
about
yeah.
not going in with emotion. That was a great point that you
Right,
mentioned. And I
right.
think that's so important because so many of us can get wrapped up in the emotion where
Yeah,
we're so angry, we're so
right.
frustrated, we're so
Mm-mm.
sad, we're so beaten up by this
Mm-hmm.
toxicity. Maybe we
Right,
have this coworker, you're just
right,
not getting along with them or the team
right,
or whatever it is. You
right.
can get emotional. Those are
Mm-hmm.
emotions. We're getting angry,
Right,
but we need to override that with
right,
logic. And
right,
that's so important in the workplace, and it's hard to do, but it
right,
is important. It is crucial because, like
right,
you said, if you go in there with emotion, you are going to rock the boat, and
right,
it's going to come off as
right,
weak. It's going to come off poorly, and you're
right.
going to maybe say things that you didn't want to come out
Yeah,
because
because it's
that's
gonna come out if you lit on that. So let it go.
exactly just like in relationships. When
Right,
we have arguments emotionally, we're going to say things we don't mean. We're going to say things that are hurtful. And
right.
these are relationships in the workplace. And so we're going to say things that we don't necessarily mean. We're going to come out of that meeting with that leader and say, "Oh, crap,
Mhm.
I
Right,
shouldn't have said that." When we have a
right,
level head, we're going to come out
right.
being like,
And
I
this is
messed up."
right, and this is a good trick, everybody, that I learned. And I talked to different people, CEOs, VPs, all through my career in corporate America. And what I learned about what they respect, especially when you bring up this situation, they always respect those that are not angry. So you
Hmm.
remain calm. And that's what Cameron was basically saying. He was taking you through that journey. But one thing that was consistent, if you really, when you go back and you listen to this episode again, I highly recommend, he basically was teaching you also to remain calm and focus on the objective. When you do that, you're good to go. Let me go ahead and pivot to this right here. To recap on the benefits of connecting with what you do, confidence coach. Could you share with us overall, like someone thinking like, well, do I really need a confidence coach? Maybe I could just, can you just kind of tap on that? What would be, because I'm impressed of how someone could consider of the overall benefits of connecting with someone like you and what you do.
Absolutely. So I think again, it comes down to when we look at ourselves in the mirror, when we truly humble ourselves and we look at where can we improve in life, most people have something that they can improve. We just have to
Mm-hmm.
be honest about it. I work with a lot of really vulnerable topics,
Mm-hmm.
relationships, communication, things that aren't out in the open, right?
Right.
These are things that people don't air their dirty laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And these things absolutely affect the workplace too. When your relationships are screwed up at home
Mm-hmm.
and you're having this marriage or whatever it might be,
Mm-hmm.
you're angry, you're unhappy, you're frustrated, that's going to show up in the workplace.
Mm.
You bet your buns, that's going to show up in the
Preaching it.
workplace. Yep. Because we got to be okay inside.
Right.
We got to be all right in our mind, in our hearts, to be our best selves, and to be our best selves, everything's got to be all right. So to look at ourselves again in the mirror, humble ourselves and say, where can I improve? Okay, I can be a better communicator. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can be a little bit more loving. Okay, I can be a
Mm.
little bit more giving. I can be, these things in your relationships. That's where people tend to say, but I don't know how. I don't
Mm.
know how to do that. I want to communicate with my husband or my wife.
Mm.
I want them to communicate with me a little bit better. I know I'm not pleasing him or her as best as I can. All these improvements back home, how
Mm-hmm.
do I do that? That's where I come in. I have a lot of tactics, a lot of tips, a lot of practices
You
that
got a
we
lot
can
of
work on.
gemstones over there you ain't told me about. Because you've
Yeah,
been dropping
there's
a
a
lot of
lot
gemstones
there,
today.
there's a lot we can, and they sound stupid too, but they work. It's the simple things.
Mm,
It's like
I agree.
we go do hard things because when we callous our minds, so let's go take a cold shower. Let's go do an
Mm,
ice bath. Let's go do a
mm,
workout. Let's go cook
mm,
some food. Let's go do some meditation. Let's journal. Let's talk about the things that we're grateful for in life. Those are just a couple of the things. And we go a lot deeper. Talk about all these things that are so important in pleasing in a relationship.
You keeping it real, Cameron.
Hey, I got you. They're vulnerable topics, but they're important things, and they're things that everyone can relate to. And because people's ear perks up when they hear these things, because they're like, oh man, I resonate with that. They're not going to say it,
right?
But their ears are perking up, because here's a fun stat for you. At least 25% of women in relationships are not getting pleased. At least 25% of women are not getting pleased in their relationships, and that's a problem. That's a big problem. And that will absolutely affect your life outside of the relationship. I mean, if that is enough to ruin a relationship, when that ruins a relationship, you're a mess. You're crying, you're depressed, you're all these things. Boom, now you're on the outer ring, okay? That outer ring touches your workplace, it touches family, it touches everything in your life. Your life just kind of crumbled for the time being, because you just had to break up with someone because you weren't being pleased, because you didn't feel loved, because you're not getting what you needed, your needs were not met, etc. All these things are so interconnected, they're so interwoven. And so I help with these things. So if someone is saying to themselves, man, I just don't know, I don't know what's wrong, but I'm not feeling as fulfilled in life as I should, or maybe they can identify what's wrong, but they don't know how to work on it. That's where I come in, and we start plugging away, and we make life better. We make through practices. It's not easy. It's a process. Changing life is not easy. It will always be difficult, but it will be rewarding, or else you just stay in the same place you've been your entire life.
Right. And that's misery. So really, to kind of put all of this in a nice little bow here, is that a confidence coach is like I like to call it your 360. It helps you in so many different aspects, particularly where you're at, where you focus at, and readjust. You can be able to reach that goal, reach that journey, reach that mindset. Thank you so much. Ooh, you bought a lot. See, you didn't even buy no, bags or anything, or shopping, or, like that here, shopping bags here, but you was dropping a whole bunch of gems today.
I hope that gravy.
Oh,
tastes
that
good.
gravy was good. I didn't know Portland had that much good gravy. Oh my, good.
Hope I brought some potatoes with that gravy.
Some potatoes.
Brought a whole meal.
A whole meal, yeah. So you got me up here saying I'm on my flash. All
right, Thanksgiving round too.
Right, yes. And I love Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday. Let's see. Let's get to some fun part where we wrap up the podcast show here. What is your favorite food and why? You asked me, and I guess ask you.
I gotta go steak. I mean,
I was gonna say steak, or one of my favorite, but I was trying to stay off of it.
A well cooked, not well done, but like a very nice medium rare filet mignon. Ooh, that gets me excited.
Do y'all have Longhorns up there, or does any steak restaurant? Because Longhorns is
yeah, we don't. Did you say Longhorns?
Longhorns, yeah.
No, we don't have that. I don't. Yeah,
but nonetheless, a steak is a steak if they could cook it right.
I'm not picky. You're not picky. I'm not. You give me a nice medium rare filet mignon, I'm happy. That's on the healthy side. If I'm going unhealthy, I'm getting a meat lover's pizza with some donuts.
Oh, I love donuts. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, so the next question for you, Cameron, is if you could go anywhere for 1 year, where would it be and why?
For 1 year.
Yes.
Can I take my family with me?
For you, yes. You can take your
for me, thanks. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to Fiji. We're going to Fiji.
Oh, I love Fiji. I haven't been there yet, but I heard it's marvelous. And the water.
I haven't either, but I have a feeling that I'd love it.
Oh, you're gonna love it. Oh, the water is beautiful. You're gonna love it. It's this complete paradise.
I'm a water animal. I can live in the water.
Really? You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Okay. The last question for you today, before we wrap up, is what I love to ask people is a motivational quote. It's always interesting what people say. So what is yours that you go by to help you on your personal journey?
This is a phenomenal question. I love it. I did a TEDx talk a few years ago, and the topic, I have it tattooed on my wrist. It is, do hard things for an easy life, or do easy things for a hard life.
Say that one more time. Love it.
Yep. Do hard things for an easy life, or do easy things for a hard life. What that means is we can choose to do the hard things right now. We can do the workout. We can reflect, look at ourselves, do the inner work. We can cook, We can do the ice bath. We can do all these
Mm-hmm.
things that are really tough that we know are going to benefit us later. The
Mm-hmm.
hard things now for an easy life later. Because if we do our workouts now, we don't put them off. Our medical bills are going to be better. We're going to be happier,
Ooh, see,
healthier,
this
more
I love
comfortable.
asking this question.
Yep.
Everybody, when they come, always give me something unique. Keep going. I know
Yep.
we got a
Yep.
couple
Yep.
minutes, but go ahead.
No, yeah. And then
Ooh,
on the other side, if you do the easy things, you're gonna have a hard life. If you don't do the workouts, if you
ooh,
eat,
it's good.
if you do the, if you go to McDonald's every day, if all these things,
Cameron
you
coming
don't.
out with the trophy. You coming out
This
with
is
the Super Bowl gold. Yeah, this is the
more
best
gravy,
one.
more
A whole
gravy.
bunch of gravy. Give me a
It's,
truckload of gravy.
it's
Keep going. We got a minute.
if
Go keep going. I love it.
you're good, you're good. I love your energy
Oh,
is
oh
infectious. Your
my
energy is infectious.
gosh. Wow,
If
this is
we
amazing. I'm gonna put this on my
if we
Twitter.
procrastinate on our taxes, if we,
Mm.
put off talking to that girl or that guy, if we put off saying sorry, if we do the easy things, we sit on the couch and eat potato chips all day and ding dongs and Twinkies, we're gonna have we're gonna have a hard life later on. We're gonna be depressed. We're not gonna have confidence. We're not gonna get paid like we should. We're not gonna have the relationships that we should. Everything is gonna be harder on the backside. So do hard things now for an easier life later on, or you have the choice to do the easier things now, but life is gonna be a hell of a lot harder later.
All right. I'm going to put this on my Twitter page and I'm going to quote you. Can you repeat that
Mm-hmm.
one more time? Because I was writing so
Yes.
fast trying to catch up and I was so
Yeah.
emotional about it. Say it one more time.
I got you. Do
Woo.
hard things for an easy life,
Okay.
or do easy things for a hard life.
Mm. And you know, when you were saying it was so good, I was just, you know, when you eat something for soup, you keep eating like, oh my, you know, I like to say pork ribs. I say, if I ever do this, I'm gonna eat me some pork ribs just for the heck of it. I don't really eat pork, but that's my way to say, you know, I'm just gonna eat pork ribs when I get that and celebrate. So I was eating that so good, I had time to really get it.
I love how you relate everything to food.
I love food.
It's so me. It's so me too.
I love food. I think food is the wonderful expression of giving and love when you cook for other people and eat. And when you broke it down, oh, that's deep. That's all I got to share this with people because that's what people needs to hear. And we don't have enough time. I definitely would like to invite you back. We have more time for another we can see where you at, see what you got to say, because you be dropping. You came with a truckload. This is you, but you came with a big old 18-wheeler truckload of some goodies today that I know my listeners are going to appreciate that and admire, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. You're an incredible host and an incredible leader. You do a good job of pulling information out. Your energy is infectious, so thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. And guess what? I'll talk to y'all in the next one.